On January 7th, 2025, something remarkable happened. This is something that has not happened in a long time. Imagine meeting a revolutionary hero like Thomas Sankara or Patrice Lumumba. How exciting would that be, to meet an African leader that is passionate and determined to create change? But we don't have to imagine. There is one right in front of us. And the citizens of Ghana met him on January 7th, 2025 during the inauguration of the newly elected President John Dramani Mahama. Since the event, the internet has been on fire, with many giving their opinion on how President Traore shut down Ghana for some minutes. But what exactly happened? Let's find out. On January 7th, 2025, the newly elected President of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, was sworn in. It was a highly anticipated and historical event that drew the attention of both local and international observers. A lot of notable figures, including African heads of state such as Nigerian President Bola Tinubu, were present at the ceremony. During the ceremony, one moment stood out. It was a moment that electrified the crowd and reverberated across the continent. Now, during the ceremony, the Ghanaian speaker, Alban Bagbin, called upon various dignitaries, including the heads of state present, to extend their congratulations to the newly inaugurated president. Each of the dignitaries and heads of state called upon received a mixture of cheers and applause. But none of this could be compared to what happened when Ibrahim Traore, president of Burkina Faso, was called up to the stage. Immediately, Alban Bagbin called Traore's name. The crowd was electrified and erupted in cheers and applause which rang throughout the avenue. For the next few minutes, the crowd broke into chants of admiration for Burkina Faso's captain Ibrahim Traore. The African leaders present were stunned as the atmosphere shifted, with banners and voices hailing Traore's bold leadership. It was as if the collective spirit of Africa was ignited by Traore's presence. Even though the event was for the newly appointed president of Ghana, we can confidently say that President Traore stole the hearts of everyone and was the main attraction of the event. The message from the people was unmistakable. The era of indecisive leadership is over. Traore's model of action-driven governance has inspired a wave of demand across the continent. Observers noted that the crowd's reaction served as a warning to African leaders. Follow Traore's example of decisiveness and people-focused governance, or risk the backlash of growing public discontent. But should we be surprised? Before we proceed, here is a reminder to like this video, drop a comment, and subscribe to our channel if you have not done so already. Every African can see how Traore has progressed in his leadership since he became president of Burkina Faso. He has shown Africans and the world that Africa is capable of good leadership. He has shown us that African leaders can be passionate and selfless, working for the good of the people. How many African leaders can boast of this? How many African leaders can receive the same applause and cheers as Traore received in Ghana? The ironic thing is that the majority of the African leaders who are termed democratic by the West do not have the support of the people like Traore, who is supposedly dictatorial. But what exactly is democracy? Isn't it all about the people's choice? Of course it is. Meanwhile, following the inauguration, some analysts who do not have anything to do have decided to focus on irrelevant aspects of the inauguration. President Traore attended the inauguration fully dressed in his military gear, as he always does whenever he is out on official duties. This meant that he was also fully armed. Following the event, some analysts drew attention to the fact that Traore, a highly trained soldier, got close to the newly elected president. According to these people, Traore should have been stripped of his weapons because from a civilian point of view, he could have harmed the president. But isn't that ridiculous? President Traore, widely regarded as a symbol of resilience, joined the Burkina Faso Army in 2009 and graduated from the Georges Namoano Military Academy. Afterward, he went to Morocco for anti-aircraft training before being transferred to an infantry unit in Kaya, a town in northern Burkina Faso. This means that Traore is a well-trained soldier and disciplined officer, and by all standards, he is capable of neutralizing threats without a weapon. The fact is that every part of a well-trained soldier's body can be a weapon. So even if he was stripped, he could have still neutralized any target. No doubt from a civilian point of view, Traore was a potential risk if he had the intention of harming the Ghanaian president. However, His military regalia and visible sidearms made him more predictable. Besides this, if you even think about it critically, Traore was even less of a threat than those African presidents who wore normal clothes. Imagine if one of them wanted to harm the president, it would have been much easier to harm the president than if Traore wanted to. So those analysts are just pointing out irrelevant things. What they should have focused on is the fact that Traore is an exceptional leader, loved by everyone. Now the inauguration marked a significant chapter in Ghana's political journey, as John Dramani Mahama, who previously served as president from 2012 to 2017, was sworn in once again. His election victory has been widely regarded as a testament to Ghana's commitment to democratic principles and peaceful political transitions. President Mahama, in his inaugural address, emphasized the importance of fostering unity within Ghana and strengthening collaboration across the region. He extended a warm welcome to President Traore and other dignitaries, noting that their presence underscored the spirit of African solidarity. But what is the significance of Traore's presence at the event? President Traore's attendance was particularly notable, given his pivotal role in Burkina Faso's recent political and security developments. As one of West Africa's youngest leaders, Traore has gained recognition for his efforts to stabilize Burkina Faso amidst ongoing challenges, including counterterrorism initiatives and strengthening regional alliances. By attending the inauguration, President Traore highlighted the growing camaraderie between Burkina Faso and Ghana, as well as the shared vision of a prosperous and secure West Africa. His participation also reflected the importance of fostering cooperation among nations in the economic community of West African states amid regional challenges. Now, the inauguration ceremony was not only a celebration of Ghana's democratic process, but also a platform for promoting dialogue and collaboration among African leaders. The presence of Captain Ibrahim Traore, alongside other heads of state, symbolized a commitment to mutual support and shared goals. In a statement following the ceremony, President Traore expressed his optimism for Ghana's future under Mahama's leadership and reiterated Burkina Faso's dedication to fostering stronger ties with its neighbors. Today, we reaffirm our commitment to unity, peace, and progress for all West Africans, he stated. President Traore is indeed an exceptional leader. His attendance at the inauguration signifies that Burkina Faso and Ghana are going to work together to achieve great things. Already in one of his interviews, the president of Ghana expressed his intentions to build diplomatic relations with Burkina Faso, something which the former president destroyed. Speaking on the issue, President Dramani stated without mincing words that the former government of Ghana created tensions with Burkina Faso. He said, "We know what is happening in Burkina Faso. Indeed, we should be working closer with our comrades in Burkina Faso. Unfortunately, this government has created some tensions between us and Burkina Faso because our president went and opened his mouth too wide." Wow, that is some serious shade at the former president. But President Dramani didn't stop there. He said, "You saw the video. He went and was reporting on Burkina Faso. We all are here. We are suffering. America calls you and you are excited, and the next thing you start reporting Burkina Faso to the US. With this speech, we can tell that Dramani is not a fan of the US and any leader like Akufo-Addo who acts like a puppet of the US. President Dramani further added that President Akufo's actions created tensions, and even though Akufo later apologized, the relationship between Ghana and Burkina Faso is still not as it used to be. He said that with this new change in government, it is necessary that Ghana goes to Burkina Faso and reaffirms diplomatic relations. This is amazing. This is the unity we want to see amongst African countries." In another interview, President Dramani reiterated the same issue, which means that burning diplomatic relations with Burkina Faso is on his list of priorities. He said, "I think we must improve our relationship with Burkina Faso, and at the same time we must also strengthen our surveillance and security, so that when it comes to our borders, we will be able to deal with it. And that is also the reason we must solve the crisis in Burkina Faso quickly." Wow, how many democratic African leaders have shown concern for the insecurity in Burkina Faso and the Sahel region? The answer is very few. The West African bloc, ECOWAS, has also not shown concern or made any move to help deal with the crisis. Yet it joined foreign countries to condemn Burkina Faso and the other countries in the Sahel region following the coups that occurred in their countries. Where then is the African unity they have been preaching about? We have always said that supposing every African country worked together to fight the insecurity when it first started in Mali back in 2012, the issue of insecurity in the Sahel region would have been a thing of the past. But it's such a shame that African countries do not know how to work together. We have a situation whereby every country is left to fend for itself and solve its own crisis, even when it's obvious that the country is drowning under that crisis. The fact is that Africa will get better, and then Africa needs to work together. This is why we applaud the actions of President Dramani in making it a priority to rebuild diplomatic relations with Burkina Faso. The actions of President Dramani are in stark contrast to those of the former president of Ghana, President Akufo-Addo. Dramani's speech hints at his commitment to building the bridge that the former president had burnt between Ghana and Burkina Faso. This is because Ghana needs Burkina Faso more than ever when it comes to dealing with insurgency knocking at its doors, especially from the north. A decades-long ethnic conflict between the Mamprusi and Kusasi people in Bauku, an hour's drive from Burkina Faso's border with Ghana, has escalated into a war, reportedly involving foreign combatants. Experts fear groups linked to Al-Qaeda and ISIL, which are expanding into Mali's neighbors and coastal states south of the Sahel, are fueling the volatile situation in Bauku to build a base in Ghana. According to Adib Sani, a security analyst with Accra-based Jadakai Center for Human Security and Peacebuilding, Ghana is currently at a major crossroads because militants are already using the West African country as a transit point to cart ammunition to their operational areas such as Burkina Faso. Ghana continues to be a major logistics hub for the terrorists on several occasions. Potassium nitrate, explosive chargers, and other materials used for improvised explosive devices have been seized in Burkina Faso only for investigation to reveal that they came from Ghana, he says. Sani added that the terrorists have not yet resorted to attacking Ghana because it is being used for something else, a withdrawal point. This means that these terrorists stage their attacks in Burkina Faso, Togo, and Côte d'Ivoire, and once they are done, they withdraw back into Ghana to restock, resupply, and go back to fight other countries. Since Ibrahim Traore has proven himself as a leader who is committed to dealing with the insurgency problem within Burkina Faso and its borders, it actually makes sense that the new president would want to repair the relationship between the two countries and foster cooperation on the security issues facing both countries. As Ghana embarks on a new chapter under President Mahama, the collaborative presence of regional leaders like Captain Ibrahim Traore sets a hopeful tone for the future of West African cooperation. This moment underscores the importance of unity in addressing shared challenges and building a more resilient and prosperous region. With leaders like Mahama and Traore at the helm, West Africa continues to exemplify the power of diplomacy and collective action in shaping the continent's destiny. While the African continent might not be where we want it to be, the fact is that things are changing. For a long time, the status quo has remained the same, with the West controlling everything from politics to the military and economy, while African leaders turn the other way in exchange for financial and military support. Meanwhile, it's the African people that are at the receiving end of all this. They struggle to survive under harsh economic conditions and bad infrastructure while the leaders fill their pockets with public funds. Those who are fed up with the system choose to migrate to the West in search of better opportunities. Some succeed while others die on the journey. Such a sad tale. However, as we said, things have begun to change. The biggest problem Africa has is not the West, but its lack of strong leaders who are ready to defend the continent against the West. Since 2020, however, new leaders have begun to rise. It started with the coup in Mali, which then spread to Burkina Faso in 2022 and Niger in 2023. However, the coups in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are different not just because they were bloodless, but because they brought out remarkable leaders who, since they arrived, have caused big changes in Africa geopolitics. Like former permanent representative to the African Union Mission in Washington, D.C., Dr. Arikana Chihombori Kwao from Zimbabwe said, "These coups are a revolution. These coups brought out the caliber of leaders that Africa needs." Even the West has acknowledged that the military leaders of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are different from the other African leaders. In one of the Congress meetings held in the United States, one of the military generals of the United States called the military leaders of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso sophisticated, meaning that they are highly intelligent and different from the other African leaders the US was used to dealing with. Just look at what they have accomplished since they came into power. Like a domino, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso kicked out French forces and ended the colonial pact, which gave France significant control over Francophone Africa, thereby causing France to lose the strong grip it has had on these nations. But that's not all. They have also taken control of their resources, nationalizing them to the benefit of the people. Ibrahim Traore, for instance, has suspended the export of gold, the country's major export product, to the West, so that the country can take charge of the gold mining industry. He has also established a gold refinery, the first of its kind in the country, so that gold would no longer be sold only in its pure form at a cheap rate, but in its refined state. Through this, Burkina Faso will get tremendous value for its resources. Mali has also taken a similar step, signing a deal with Russia to build a gold refinery for the country. None of the democratic leaders in these countries had ever thought of building a refinery, yet they are hailed by the West as their allies. And why not, when these leaders turn the other way to ensure continued exploitation of their country's resources? What a shame. These leaders have proven that they are ready to defend the complete independence of their countries, no matter the cost. To the shock of the West, they have chosen to partner with countries that are rivals to the West, including Russia and China, two countries that prefer to work with Africa based on mutual benefits and not control. Recently, Niger made history by becoming the first African country to send the US packing. This is something that has never happened. The US military presence in the country has not done anything to alleviate the insecurity that has plagued the country for years. In fact, Niger has no visible benefit from the presence of US forces in the country. It makes us wonder whether the previous government was blind when it signed such an agreement with the United States. However, the military government of Niger stood its ground, refused to give in to the condition of the United States, and instead sent them packing. Chad has also taken a similar step, threatening to end the status of force agreement which allowed the United States military forces to remain in the country. No doubt Chad, a country that has been regarded as a strong ally of France and the US, had the guts to do this because Niger took that step. Even if the US doesn't end up leaving Chad, there is no doubt that Chad will renegotiate with the United States for better benefits. Without a doubt, things have changed. The African continent has awakened and is taking charge of its destiny, while the military leaders in the Sahel are causing tremendous changes in African geopolitics. Other African countries are also awakening. Take a look at South Africa, which has decided to take an ally of the United States, Israel, to court accusing it of committing genocide. Standing against an ally of the United States means standing against the United States, but South Africa has refused to cower and is charging ahead despite the risk and the threats from the United States. Things are indeed changing, and a revolution has started that cannot be stopped. It's now left for other African countries to follow in the footsteps of this revolution. The West and Europe are not friends of Africa. They would rather see the continent remain poor as long as it furthers their interest. So, it's time for all Africans to unite and push this revolution forward because Africa belongs to Africans. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video.